Hi guys, Chris Buck here from Estate Agent Today. Now I'm delighted to be joined by Harry Turner of Spec. Harry, thank you so much for joining us. Now we've had a brilliant conversation offline, and the first thing you touched upon was consumer-centric tech. So for our agents watching this, why is that important?
I think, one of the things about technology is avoiding tech for tech's sake. So it's something that works, in your context, particularly for customers, so i.e. the agents themselves, but also the end consumers, so the end users. So it's something that's actually going to improve the journey, improve the experience, and make sure that it's actually streamlining the process at the same time. And I think when you're thinking about customers and consumers, and they can be the same thing, it's making sure that actually they're benefiting from it right along the process. So one of our main things is making sure that with everything we do, we have that end user in mind, and we have our customers, i.e. the agents, in mind, so that everybody's benefiting from it from start to finish.
Okay, so consumer-centric, don't just put prop tech in for the sake of it. And I guess accuracy is quite important, right? I know it's one of the things you guys do. Why is that important?
I think if you think about accuracy, it underpins the whole process. So for us, we are able to provide floor plans that are accurate, by guarantee to 99% of a property's true size. And that's then, in turn, each floor plan is backed by £10 million insurance. And I think that not just makes sure that everybody's dealing with the relevant and most accurate data that they can be, but it also safeguards people further down the process. So for an agent, it makes sure that there's no retrospective action that you'll be looking at. And for somebody selling their property, it means that they aren't liable for any mis-selling that might come up during the process. And we have seen instances of that. We've seen quite a few cases where we've been brought in to settle them. And one of them actually, it accounted the discrepancy for 25% of the whole property, which, effectively there was, half the flat had bits that were missing. There are huge discrepancies that can come up. And I think longer term for us, it's being able to go back into it. The way we capture these, we can look through the dimensional 3D data and double check what's there. So it's not just a claim that it's accurate. This is something that we can back up and verify, which is the spec verification that we provide. And it avoids, the average of £33,800, which generally speaking, which is the average that we found that the properties are mismeasured by in London. But that can go up to, we had 1.5 million was, I think, the value that effectively had been missed off a floor plan, which is what we're there to avoid.
So gone are the days of nicking a few square meters and, going out and putting your floor plan as the biggest. Do you know what? That must have been some awful PR for whatever agency we're dealing for that, I'm sure. So talking of PR, your ex-Knight Frank in PR, whether you're an agent watching this in Birmingham, Belfast, Bognor Regis, give us a PR tip.
I think honesty is the best policy. And particularly these days, being able to hold your hands up and resolve a situation. I think some of the stickiest messes that people get into in PR, and that's from property or across all sorts of other different industries, is by jumping in with an initial response that isn't the right one, then digging that hole deeper and deeper. And I think the hardest thing is to go back, row back, and completely change your story, at which point you've lost all trust from everybody that you're dealing with. And I think the key is being able to take your time to, get the initial response right, apologize if it's necessary, hold your hands up and say, we'll aim to do better, we'll aim to resolve it, aim to fix it. But you do see some incredible messes that people get themselves into, just flying in with a quick response, this sort of the knee-jerk reaction social media age where it's just first responder wins. That's until your response starts to unravel. And actually very, very quickly, you realize that you're in a hot mess of your own making, and sometimes on a totally unrelated topic. So yeah, I think it gets harder and harder as we're all sort of trial by social media. But I think just making sure that you're honest in the first instance and getting that response right is crucial.
I can think of one portal that did that to another portal during lockdown, and initially it looked great, and I probably would have put the same thing out. 5 minutes later, I thought, what have they done? So honesty and don't react in your PR. So thank you so much. Some absolute brilliant tips. We are right on the money. We wish everyone at Spec the best of luck here from Estate Agent Today.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.